that is, for you, that is where like everything sort of soured with you in the Democratic Party, was when during the debates where you accurately pointed out her record.
Yeah.
And you basically sank any hope that she had of being president, because you opened up this discussion that many people are not aware of about her prosecution record and the things that she's done that are absolutely illegal.
Yeah.
Like forcing people to work as labor, as cheap labor for the state to fight wildfires after they're supposed to be released.
Exactly.
They did their time.
They did their time, and she kept them in prison to use them essentially as slave labor for the state, putting their own lives at risk forcibly. The thing about my exchange with her on that debate stage, when you take a step back, you got to question, like, all of those things I brought up on her record, you easily Googleable on the first page. When you look at Kamala Harris's record, all of those things, I'd have to dig very deep to see what those issues and problems were with her record. So then the question is, hey, why didn't anybody in the media ask her these questions about the record that she said, I'm so proud of my record as this and as that, as that. All right, cool. Talk about this. This is your record. Talk about these things. No one in the media did that. There's no other candidate on the debate stage who had the balls to bring that up. How are voters supposed to be able to make their best informed decision when the media and fellow Democratic candidates who are running, who are her opponents in that race, don't have the courage to ask a very factual question on a record that she says she's proud of?
Do you think that there's a concerted effort to hide that information, or do you think that people recognize that's a trap? Like, if I do that, then it's going to fuck up my future. They're going to not want me to participate in certain things, which most certainly happened to you.
Yes, that most certainly happened. And that shows the double standard. I don't know why no one had the courage to ask her those questions, why I was the first person to do it. If I had to guess, I would imagine it's because she's got friends in high places. I would guess it's because she's a woman of color, and no one wants to be seen as the person attacking a woman of color who's running for president. They got no issues attacking me on a whole host of fronts, but because, again, she was connected, she's playing the game, she's somebody that the Democratic Party knows that they can control. And that was the thing for me, is, and it started years before I ran for president, is once the Democratic, I got elected to Congress, and they were like, oh, she's the first this, she's the first that, she's cool, she's going to be one of us, we'll put her forward, and, she'll be a great new face of the Democratic Party, all these things. But then very quickly they realized, like, I've always been an independent Democrat. Every race that I've ever run, whether it was for city council in Honolulu or for the state legislature or for Congress, I was never like the party pick, ever. I never won any of those races with the Democratic Party saying, all right, hey, we're going to back you up. We're going to send you money. We're going to send the troops out to support you. None of that. It was always been a truly grassroots campaign of the people, which is amazing. They found out very quickly, like, oh, okay, she's not somebody that, the puppet masters can control. She's not just going to read the talking points when she goes on TV or stands on the House floor. And that's where things started to take a turn, where those who are in those positions of power said, okay, she's somebody who could expose our weaknesses, expose our insecurities, expose the hypocrisies in our arguments, and started to create that distance, and then resorted to the smear and the discrediting and the attacks, and then ultimately, like, total media blackouts.
It's amazing when I talk to people, and it happened recently with Alex Berenson. He was like, isn't she crazy? I'm like, what's crazy? How's she crazy? Tell me how she's crazy. And then no examples. I'm like, well, why are you saying that? Like, why does someone say? He's like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't have an example. Yeah. I'm like, isn't that weird that you just like have, and he's a journalist. Mm-hmm. I mean, worked for the New York Times, and it just, isn't she crazy? Yep. Accepting that. And that's how they do it. Wild. That's how they do it is like, hey, let's just plant a seed of doubt or suspicion so that most people, I mean, as a journalist, he's got no excuse, but most people don't have, honestly, they don't have the time That's
they
the
hear
thing, right?
one thing. They're like, shoot, like I got kids, I got
Yeah.
work, we got soccer games, we got this, we got that. And you want me to do research? Like, wait, what?
Right. And you want me to do research from multiple different platforms,
Exactly.
so that I get an unbiased perspective,
Yeah.
or at least an objective perspective based on multiple sources of information. But it's such a bizarre system that we have, and it's so easy to rig.
Yeah.
Because there's only two parties, and both parties are controlled by these gigantic special interest groups.
Gigantic special interest groups, corporate for-profit media, big tech, and then the powers in both parties. And that's where I'm glad you used the word rigged, because it's an important word, and usually when you use it, people aren't thinking of it in the way that we're talking about. It's what I experienced during that campaign, is that collusion between those very, very powerful entities to decide, before voters even get a chance to be exposed to different candidates to choose from. They decide, all right, here's the people that we're going to, we think will be all right. We think they're going to play the game, and we'll promote them. We'll say nice things about them, maybe throw in a tough question here or there just to not blow our cover. But these are the people that we want voters to choose from. And these other people are the ones that we're going to try to either just slide into the darkness and hope nobody notices them. Or if people are noticing them, we're going to do everything that we can to smear them and undermine their credibility, so that when they do speak, you get that kind of reaction from Berenson.
Did you notice an immediate change in the way people communicated with you before that debate versus after that debate?
That was one of the factors. That was one of the factors. The interesting thing to me was that I heard from some friends who were sitting kind of in the green rooms and backstage for some of the major cable networks at that moment, live when it happened on the debate stage. There was a whole bunch of people cheering and like, holy crap, that just happened.
Yeah.
But probably within an hour, maybe 30 minutes of the debate being finished and going into the media room where they, you've got the post-debate, all the interviews and all those things happening, immediately it was like, okay, no, we've got to change the narrative, because we can't allow that to stick.